Ready or not, here we come, live into your PC. And on your TV if you got it hooked up HDMI. The Let's Talk Racing, supposedly hour, TV show.
Well, it sounds like we're going to be about an hour and a half tonight. We got a great lineup. We don't know exactly who's calling in, but we know we got a buttload calling in.
Got a bunch of people who've been talking they're going to be calling in, so we don't know who all's going to make it in here.
We know we got Sherry Clifton, NASCAR Wheeling Southern Modified Series Director. Right, Bill?
Yeah.
Brian Morehouse is going to call in, our buddy from NASCAR. Darrel Krentz is going to call in, and that leads into not only the modified INEX. We're going to hit on the INEX Nationals too.
Hey, Matt.
Thomas Stinson.
I got some good news today. My agent called me up.
Let me see that. It's got a picture of it?
Hold on.
$14 different drivers. There were 16 drivers. 14 were there, right?
Mm-hmm. How's my hair, Matt? You got hairspray. You look all good. You probably had a makeup artist.
I just got out of the shower. Is what I did.
Bill, do you need to wear my hat?
No, I'll get you to come over here and sit. It'll be me talking in your face. You know what I mean? We'll do it like a voiceover or something.
And I got a story for you when Elton Sawyer, and he said it in the deal. You know, I was the one that took him on the golf cart down the backstretch, and he's the one that told me the story about him and Bubba Adams ending up on the backstretch. That's cool. That was a neat deal, and not many tracks are doing that too. So to honor them guys, that was a big deal.
Yeah, it meant a lot to them.
Figures, Bill, you would be the one person in the whole picture
looking the other way.
Looking the other way.
Well, I wasn't one of the champions, so I'm not important. You know what I mean? Okay. Most people don't know. They're like, who the hell was that dude on the end?
If it weren't for you, they wouldn't have a place to do it at. Come on.
Somebody would have done it.
Well, the thing is, you and I talking, I believe.
No, I'm not talking. I'm just looking around.
You were talking with Charles.
I was?
Yeah.
Talking to you?
Yeah, y'all both sitting there facing each other.
Well, hell, I was talking to Petty. Who the hell wants to talk to those other guys when you got Petty there to talk to? It is amazing, though, how much you do look like him. I mean, up close, too. Somebody said, hey, does that dude really look like Petty? I said, you damn right. How old are you?
63.
Mm-hmm. That's what I figured. I said, the guy's like Petty's age, too. I said, he ain't like 35.
He's 10 years older than I am.
Uh-huh.
But my agent called me up today, right? Max Magazine, you talking about?
Yeah.
I'm going to meet them in September 18th in Miami, Florida for going to magazine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I call it Max, but it's called Maxim, I believe, right?
Maxim.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yep. That's a that's a highly popular magazine with college students.
Yeah. Anytime I carry him somewhere, we got to plan at least.
It's hilarious.
Extra because people come over and getting autographs. I mean, jeez.
We went out Friday night at
Lone Star. People were in the back making bets.
If he was or not. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
We've got Sherry's calling in at 7:15, right? And then it's wide open from there. We don't know exactly who is.
Right. It's going to be.
Wide slab
all
open.
Kinds of stars. You're going to have a ball.
Madhouse boys are calling in. Did you said something about Tim Brown too, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Burt Myers, Tim Brown, Jason Myers, Darrel Krentz, Miller, Fleming, Cavalli, Seuss. I mean, we asked all of them. We asked the whole damn group. I told Sherry Clifton, I said, contact you boys via email and shoot them my call-in number for Roger.
And this is the cool thing. This is just a tentative list so far that are registered.
That's pre-registered, yeah.
This is pre-registered for Langley. Gary Butcher, Burt Myers, Tim Brown, Jason Myers, Thomas Stinson, one of our local drivers, Zach Brewer, Mike Norman, Darrel Krentz, John Smith, Lee Jeffries, L.W. Miller, Frank Fleming, Brandon Heyer, Andy Seuss, and James Savali. That's 15 cars so far. How many do you think we're really going to get?
I'm thinking, Matt, honestly, that we're going to be bumping 25. I could easily see another 8 or 10 cars signing up. I mean, there's other boys talking about coming, and you know, it's not unusual for a lot of those guys to sign up late or sign up when they get there.
Yep. Now, we've also asked Teddy Christopher to join us tonight. Hopefully he will call in. And he might be coming down too because he runs the Southern Series.
Well, he hadn't run the Southern Series this year in points. He did participate in the Bristol race, but he was scored as a Northern car at Bristol.
I got you.
Right. Yeah,
Okay.
so Ted's hadn't been part of the regular Southern Series this year, but he's been scoring big points up north.
Okay. I had heard that he was. So this list is still quite impressive. I mean, you got the Myers brothers, Brown, Stinson, who gets around Langley Speedway. He's a local guy. He's going to run both races too. He's going to run the regular modifieds and the Southern modifieds. Right. Frank Fleming has won. You can't even count how many races he's won anymore. Andy Seuss, he ran really well at Bristol and at New Hampshire for the race up there. Savali's been running real well. I know you've got a list of what the Southern guys have been doing this year. They go to Caraway this week, and then next week they're here with us.
Yep.
So this ought to be good. I'm just looking over. You know the top 10 are going to show up. Wow, they got a close points battle. 300 points between the 10. That ain't bad. Okay, so we're waiting on phone calls. We're going to talk to Bill a little bit. Track owner, Langley Speedway. How's the year been going?
Well, it's been going good, Matt. Racing as usual at Langley Speedway. I mean, it's the 60th anniversary this year, so it's a real special time out there. We honored all the champions this past Saturday night, and that was a real cool deal. Phil Warren having 7 championships and 2 now as a crew chief for Falk is a pretty big accomplishment. And not to leave out Danny Edwards, Mark Wirtz, Greg Edwards. There's a bunch of other guys that have won several championships. Elton Sawyer, Roger did, and what a list of talent at Langley Speedway. And it was just another good year, Matt. I mean, it's been a great year in racing there, and you know what it's been. I think you're leading points in the Pro 6 Series right now, and you've had a good race year, and you picked up another win this past Saturday night, and I just want to congratulate you for that one.
Thank you. We had to work for that one.
Yeah.
You know what? All the racing has been good through all the divisions all year, and nobody's really run away with everything. And compared to the last years, the racing all together has all been great.
Yeah.
It seems like there's a different attitude at the racetrack, and you've brought in, how should I say it? Yeah, you've brought in a different attitude. You've brought in some great racing. Late models have been good all year. Modifieds have been great. Super Streets, U-Cars have been, man, you would think they're racing for $1 million. Yeah. You got the INEX Nationals coming in, and everybody is getting excited about that. That is, you can feel the buzz about that. You want to talk a little bit about what we've got going on with that? You've got going on?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a big honor, to host a race of that level. And Darrel Krentz, I mean, he's really worked with me closely on this. I went to Lanier last year and attended those nationals, and it was some of the best racing I've ever seen in my life. And you know that, Matt, when you get 200 of the best Legends drivers in the United States at one racetrack, Friday's races are heat races. A lot of people have won national qualifiers. They'll be guaranteed a starting spot in those mains on Saturday. But these other 200 cars are going to be there trying to get positions in that race. So Friday's heat racing, to me, is unbelievable because those people haven't gotten in the nationals yet. They're there, but they're not in for Saturday's big show, and they race to get in Saturday's show. Then Friday night, I mean, that race in Lanier last year was unbelievable. They have the race of champions. They take the track champions from all over the United States and race all the champions against each other for a special Friday night race. And, of course, the guys that are really in contention thinking they've got a great car for Saturday, they don't run that car Friday night. And, they'll have a different car for Saturday. But it was some unbelievable racing. And then Saturday, I think, was starting at 12:30. You have that last chance heat racing. I mean, that's the last chance. And those guys, I mean, it's on to try to get your last absolute chance to get in one of those mains. So the racing Saturday starts up really hot with the last chance heat race. Then you start, the D mains, the C mains, the B mains, and then the A main is the National Asphalt Championship. and that should be about 6:15 that night, and it's going to be unbelievable racing at Langley Speedway.
Now, if I remember correctly, they're going to break it down too. This is not just going to be one race. This is going to be a semi-pro race, a masters race, a pro race, and a young guns race. Correct?
That's correct. And these groups, on a Saturday night, you may have these 4 divisions racing together on the track at one time, getting separate national scoring for their individual divisions, getting track scoring for their actual finishes that night. But on this national level, those groups of superstars will be broken apart into their appropriate groups, and you can imagine some of the racing, and you've seen some of the young talent that's been at the track this year, looking Langley over for these nationals coming up, and boy, oh boy, that's all I got to say. It is going to be something else, and we've got fantastic locals that are very fast there. It's their home track, but some of these guys that have come in there to check that place out are absolute barn burners.
Yep. Yeah, and we're seeing more come as it gets closer. We've seen more out of town guys come in to go do this racing.
Yeah.
To come in to test our track out.
Yeah.
So yeah, Gray Galding's been up once or twice, and I think he's coming up again.
Yep.
Correct?
Yep. The young boy out of Austin, Texas, Bobby. I don't remember his last name right now. I have so many racers' names that float in my head, but he was exceptional. 13-year-old came out of here at Austin, Texas, and he took the lead that night and finished second.
Yep.
And what an unbelievable showing from him, and the professionalism the crews have now in Legends racing is unbelievable. I believe that Pistone is bringing 17 cars to our event at Langley.
Yeah.
That one race team's got 17 entries, so it's a pretty big deal. Like I said, it's a big deal for me personally, because I did work very hard to secure the show for Langley. I worked really close with NX to try to get this to Langley Speedway. It's a big honor to me. I mean, it's only been run at a select few tracks in 19 years. This will be the 19th annual Nationals, and they've had it in Lanier in Georgia. They've had it at the Bull Ring in Las Vegas. They've had it at Lowe's Motor Speedway, Elko, Minnesota, and Lake Erie, and that's it. And we're going to be the 6th track on that prestigious list in 19 years, and that's a big accomplishment for Langley Speedway.
Yeah. And if some of you have never seen a Legends race, you got to go see them. And when you get this big, you're going to have 250 cars, I would say, at the minimum, biting for this. And you're going to have them coming down from Canada. You're going to have them coming in from California to race this race. I mean, it's going to be huge.
Yeah, I mean, there's even entries from Europe and Hawaii, and they're racing them in Alaska. So it's truly international, and it's going to be a big event. Like I say, I'm just really proud to host it. We're gearing up now for the event to do a really good job there, and I'm just excited. That's all I can say, Matt. It's pretty cool. That you and I have a pretty long history together that maybe some of the viewers don't know about, but Matt was crewing for me when I got my first win at Langley Speedway in a car.
Yep.
And I've won many kart races there over the years, but the car racing, Matt was always part of my team years ago, and him and Gary Alvis, really started me out 4-cylinder racing some years ago, and boy, did we have a good time together. And then Matt, is the race director at Hampton Roads Kart Club, which I'm president of, that operates at Langley Speedway, and we have plans to build a new asphalt track, and we hope to make it one of the premier tracks on the East Coast. And Matt, you've got a fantastic kart club. You have 100 and some people that come out there and race every Sunday. It's a good deal. It's about the children, and you and I both know, and I've heard you mention it on this show before, that it's certainly a breeding ground to feed the Speedway. And Blake Murphy's got Arena Racing USA here in Hampton Roads. I've got the only relationship with Arena Racing outside of their own tracks in the Winter Series, and they race with you in the summertime out there, and it's a real cool deal. And here in Hampton Roads, we've got a very special race community and a very special race family, and there's many of us that are involved in different things. Matt works on the team Arena Racing. I spot for Arena Racing driver, so it's really cool. We're vertically integrated. I think the Kart Club, Langley Speedway, and Arena Racing USA, we've really got a good family here, and it's great to be here in Hampton Roads with this group.
Yeah, and we've got a bunch of great racers, and it's just like you said, we've got some karters out there now that are already looking at going to Arena or going to the Legends or coming out to Langley on Saturday night. And there's some great Ricky Rudd came from racing at Langley in the Kart Club and went into Cup. Denny Hamlin's won WKA races.
Yep.
Our local Woody Howard came out of
Ward
Hampton
Burton.
Roads Kart Club.
Ward Burton, Jeff Burton.
Ward and Jeff both won WKA
And Hampton Roads Kart Club
and Hampton Roads Kart Club
That's right.
races. You know, so that's our breeding ground. And like you said, we've got, we probably average 85, 90 a race, that come out to the kart club, and just a great bunch of people.
It is, and I mean, I had a big kart racing history, and thank Todd Miller. He always built my engines down there in Carolina, did a great job, and I ran Harold Wiggins frames, out of Phantom for a long time, and was part of that family, and that was a great experience for me and my daughter. We won 5 championships together, kart racing, and we've had a great history in that. Not only am I president of Hampton Roads Kart Club, but we have a fantastic history racing in the kart club when Larry Waltrip was president and running that operation, and Larry ran it for 15 years.
Larry brought me into it.
That's right.
So yeah, and then Larry did a great job for what he had. He did a great job, and,
Sure did,
and kept that going. And it's great fun. If you ever get a chance, come out on Sundays, watch it, because we've got some great racing out there.
we sure do, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, we really do.
It's a good experience, and it's a breeding ground. And like I said, about our plans for our new track, and hopefully that's going to happen. And we've got the survey plans finished and getting ready to submit them to the city and move forward on that thing. And we've done a lot of improvements at Langley Speedway. A lot of them are visuals for public, and a lot of things for our racers this year. So we've got a program that's going to put Langley Speedway hopefully back to the forefront of short tracks in the United States,
Right.
and I think we're well on our way.
No doubt in my mind, you're on your way. You put in a turn down lane. The place looks beautiful. If you ever get to come out and see it, you need to see Langley Speedway. It's one of the most beautiful tracks there is. And I've been all over the country, and you of course have been all over this area. Racing at Southampton and South Boston, and so you've been to all these tracks. And a lot of people don't know your history. You're the racer, and you've come up. Now you're a track owner. And how do you feel being that track owner? Do you miss that racing part? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I do, Matt, because I think
Yeah.
you and I have talked about this some on a personal basis. But not racing is really hard for me. That's who I really want to be. I worked in the shop 2 nights ago on my daughter's stuff for Champ Kart Race until 11 o'clock at night, and that's the guy I used to be all the time. I'd spend 2 or 3 nights a week in the shop till 11:30. Really enjoyed hands-on. We really enjoyed kind of being some of our own crew chief and racing as well.
Right.
And we had good success at it, and we had a lot of fun over the years. So I definitely miss the racing. But when I go to my drivers' meeting and I tell my drivers, I am your people, that's one statement that's absolutely true when it comes from me.
Yep.
I came out of the pits, and the racers are my people.
Yep. You and I actually have something that we did that it actually started a trend for the longest time. We were the first ones ever to have cut tires in the U-cars, and it took them a while to figure that out, didn't it?
It took them over a year. Took them over a year. We cut the tires, and I was 7/10 faster when we went back to the track, and I sandbagged the car. And
We did.
Trip Anderson had been winning all the races in that probe of his at number 13, and we sandbagged that car, and you were on the radio and you told me, ride easy there, ride easy, and I kept going high off of 3 thinking, I was trying to get Trip to think that I was going to pass him on that side, and I kept suckering up the track, and then I think on the last lap we bird dogged him off of 4 and won by about a fender, and that was good enough.
Yeah, that was good
But
enough.
we had a dominant car that year. I actually took Tripp's car and set the track record at Southampton Motor Speedway in 4-cylinder, and I think I turned a 19 flat up there in Tripp's car. But it was a great time. I mean, we had great people racing with us. It was a great hobbyist division, and it was just a lot of fun, man. And
Yeah.
you know what it was.
Yeah, it is still is. U-Car's still a great division. You've got a lot of great divisions out there. I don't see you changing much for next year. I know that's been, but it's like if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Exactly. And I think that's one problem I've heard in the past, that the rule book tends to migrate out from underneath the field of cars that's built, and they keep chasing something new. And we had a lot of meetings with owners last year and drivers, and we basically have taken the rules at Langley 3 Speedway and put in a 3-year freeze on them. and we're not planning on changing much of anything this winter. I know there's a few little teeny grand stock things I want to get the group together and talk about. There's a few little things, but most in general, I want to go to the last drivers meeting and tell the boys status quo. Go home and polish what you got or build something new, but we're doing what we're doing because it's working. Right. And you know, recently we've seen some upswing in our support division car count. And I think that's people testing the track, watching the management, see if we're going to be migrating out from under the cars or if they can depend on us to stay the same.
Right, right.
Y'all haven't started talking to Sherry yet?
We got Sherry on the line. Hey, Sherry.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good.
I tell you what, Sherry, I come out here, push the buttons, let them know there's somebody there, and they just keep right on going. They're in their own world.
I'm new at this, Sherry, so I didn't even know you were on there. I'm going to blame it on Matt and Roger.
I was enjoying the conversation, guys.
I'll bet you haven't heard any race talk in the past, have you?
Always enjoy good race talk.
We got Sherry Clifton on the line. Sherry, tell us a little bit about it, and let's get you started here.
We're just very, very excited to be coming up to Langley for our inaugural event for the NASCAR Wheeling Southern Modified Tour. Our drivers are so pumped up. This is going to be definitely one of the high points of their season. And it looks like we're going to get a good turnout of cars, and we've had a great season so far. The competition has really stepped up since last year, just in 1 year. We've got a very tight points race going on right now, and I don't expect anybody to miss it.
Yeah, I'm sitting here looking at it, and I see a 25-point. Let's see. Well, heck, fourth place is 931. 40 points between first and fourth. That looks like it could be anybody's game this year.
That's true, and we've got a race this Saturday at Caraway, so anything could happen there. It could even get tighter.
I'm looking here at the pre-registered that you got. How many more are we expecting for this race?
Well,
it's hard to say, I know.
You know, you never can say. I would say a good 20-car field.
Okay. You know, Sherry, I got to do this, but what got you into these modifieds? What made you become the series director? Where'd you come from?
Well, I used to be a track promoter at Hickory Speedway down in Hickory, North Carolina, and worked there for about 8 years. Enjoyed it very much, and as you know, the best way to make a small fortune in racing is to start out with a big one.
Exactly.
Well, I didn't start out with a big one, and that's the 8 years was all my small fortune could handle. So an opportunity came up with NASCAR with the modifieds, and I'd never really been very exposed to the modified cars. I'd always been a late model girl. My dad and my whole family were late model racers when I was growing up and all my life. And I was a little apprehensive about it. I didn't know what I was getting into, and that's always an uncomfortable feeling. And boy, was I surprised. I mean, what a great tour, what a great bunch of racers. It's a whole different ball game.
Absolutely, Sherry, and what a great series director in you. I know I'm excited, you know, to have you up here. We spoke on the phone the other day, but it's really exciting for me. I know it started last year. I came down to Concord to the R&D Center, and I met Sherry Clifton for the first time in my life, and it was very special. And you know, George Silverman and I ended up going aside and talking for a few minutes, and I think I came out of there with a potential to get one of your races, and it happened. So I just really want to thank you for supporting my ideas at Langley Speedway and being willing to back me with those ideas at NASCAR and bring that touring series up here.
Oh, definitely. And we've got some hot cars coming up there. I mean, we've got the points leader, James Savali. James this year, he's driving for Hill Brothers, or Hillbilly Racing. It's David and Roger Hill's race team. And they're strong anytime they roll off the truck. Matter of fact, they're running double duty this year, trying to run all the North Tour races and the Southern Modified races, as well as Andy Sice. I believe Andy's currently third in points right now, and he's doing double duty this year. Also, we've got the Myers boys coming, Bert and Jason. They're always fun anytime they hit the track. They're exciting. And speaking of exciting, Tim Brown. If any of you have watched any of the Madhouse shows, you'll be very familiar with Tim Brown. Tim's a multi-time champion at Bowman Gray Stadium, and Tim puts his whole self in. I mean, he wears his heart on his sleeve, and when he goes to win, and if he doesn't win, he takes it personally. And he and James Savali have had a couple misunderstandings this year. They've got a good battle going into the back end of the season, and that's always exciting. Those are two good cars to watch. Anytime they get close to each other, I guarantee you we're watching, and I suggest you do too.
Yes, ma'am.
Sherry, have you been to Langley yet?
I have not, but I think some members of my family raced there back in the day.
Really?
Tommy Houston.
Yeah.
He used to race up. Tommy's my uncle. My family is the Houstons. Hal Houston's my dad, and Ken Houston. I mean, they're all racers. Marty and Andy, I think they used to race up there. They're cousins. So we have a family tie with Langley, but this will be my first trip, and I'm very eager to get up there.
Yeah. Well, we're eager to get you up here. Believe me, if there's one thing I love is the modifieds. Even, we've got the IMCA style up here, but these big ground pounders, if you want to call them, are coming in. Man, we can't wait.
What do they say, by the grace of God and 650 horsepower?
That's it. I don't think people realize how much of rockets these cars are. They're very lightweight, over horsepowered, 15-inch tires. I mean, these things are monsters.
It is. You are crawling into a rocket.
Yep.
No doubt about it.
You brought up about the Madhouse guys. Has that helped your series any?
Sure it has. It's raised the awareness that these guys are out there, and what it takes for a local or regional racer to show up at a track every week, especially in a touring series. Long hours, the countless hours, sometimes family doing without, that the struggle for sponsorship to keep making each race is as difficult as the actual time you spend on track fighting your way to the front. And I think it just shows the passion that has to be there.
Well, you're absolutely right. There is definitely a passion. It's not only just being on that track. You're right. It's all about getting to the track.
Yes.
I got a question for you, but I don't know if I can actually bring this out. But is there one driver out there that how's the best way to put it? He's your biggest pain in the butt, but he's one that you'd rather have there than anybody else.
I'd rather not say.
Okay, I was biting my tongue on that, but I figured I'd try to ask that.
That fits a good number of the. But as I explained to them, it's their job. It's their job to fight for their team. If they think they've been wronged, or they want to question a rule or something, that is their job to come to me and to get everything they can for their team. And it's not personal. I understand that. And sometimes it's my job to say, no, I'm sorry. But, at the end of the day, we all go back, look forward to the next time. It is like a family. It's like a traveling family. And yes, you get mad at your family sometimes, but you're proud of them at the same time.
Right. And this is one that just come up. At Bristol in New Hampshire, you had a Cup guy come down and join you.
Uh-huh.
How does do you? I'm sure you enjoy when they come down. Does that help you? Does that give it a little bit more prestige to it? Do you think?
Yes, because they have to work so hard to beat these guys with all their resources. They have to drive their guts out to beat our regulars. Sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. That being said, I mean, racing now, most of the short tracks in our area, you know, Virginia, North Carolina, Tennessee, South Carolina, they all have cup connections, whether it's modified or late model or whatever it is. They've got people that work in the shops or used to work in the shops, or their brothers on the team or something. So that's pretty common now. One of our regulars, and he is entered in the event, is Gary Putnam. It's Gary's first year with the modifieds. His day job, he's car chief for the number 1 Jamie McMurray car.
Right.
And Kevin Mannion is crew chief on modified, and Kevin is the crew chief on the DEI car.
Yep.
Earnhardt Ganassi car.
And that's what I was just trying to get to, with like Newman coming in, and he made it look easy, but it really wasn't that easy of a win, was it?
No, he didn't make that pass until right at the last couple laps.
Yeah. You know, there's been so much talk about, you know, I guess why I brought it up, about the Cup guys coming down to Nationwide and all that. And you see a lot of guys coming down and playing with these modifieds, and it looks like they're having a blast.
Well, that's just it. They're not coming there for the money, I guarantee you.
Right.
Because it is so much fun.
Yep.
They love it. Whenever our first race of the season was in Atlanta on the quarter mile.
Right.
And, of course, the truck and cup teams were all down there getting ready for their weekend event. When our race started, that's all people talked about all week, the modified race. When ours started, they were lined up on pit road. Nobody left. Their day was over. Their work day had done. But nobody was leaving. All the cup and truck teams were lined up out there to watch the modified.
Yep. Tony Stewart bought one a couple years ago and ran up at New Hampshire, didn't he? And he bought it just to run that race?
I believe so.
Yeah.
That was before I was with the series, so I can't remember when. Casey Kane ran with us last year. Who else? Of course, Bobby Hutchins.
Yeah.
Has a car. He's been off this year. He's got some family issues that he's taken care of. He lost his wife last year to cancer, and so he spent a little bit more time with his young son this year, but he misses his modifieds and just loves them. I talked to Austin Dillon, Richard Childress' grandson, that's racing trucks now.
Yep.
Austin and his brother are putting together a modified because their granddaddy raced modifieds and they want to race modifieds. I mean, it's just all heart and passion.
Yeah. Oh, well, Jimmy Spencer came from modifieds, and a lot of people don't realize that's where Ray Evernham actually came out of.
That's right.
Was the modifieds, these big ground pounders.
When we were at Bowman Gray last race, our TV commentators for that were Jimmy Spencer and Mike Joy and, oh gosh, I can't remember the fellow's name. They were so excited. I mean, they were like 7-year-old boys. You know, I expected them to jump up and down, clap their hands together right before the race started. They were just pumped up. Then I watched them modified.
They are very exciting to watch. Doc just walked in and pushed a couple of buttons. Who we got on the other line?
We got one of those people you love to sneak stuff by. We got Brian Morehouse in the house with us.
Oh my goodness, my boy Brian.
How about that, Sherry?
That's fine. Good to see you, Brian.
A lot of weekends on the road.
You know Sherry very well then, don't you, Brian?
Yeah, I tell you what, there's nobody better to work for.
Is that the girl that you said was a slave driver when y'all go out on these modified shows, Brian?
Hey, watch it.
That would be right.
I'm going to get him in trouble, ain't I, Sherry?
Yeah,
not at all. It'd take a lot to get Brian in trouble.
I'm sure. Brian, welcome to the show.
Thank you, guys. How y'all doing?
Good, real good tonight. Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Getting ready, washing clothes, getting ready for the next race. We'll be out at Caraway this weekend before coming down to Langley, and looking forward to the Saturday night. And hopefully we'll have a good car count. We always have a good crowd out of Caraway, a lot of fun, and we have a good time. I'm looking forward to coming down there and seeing y'all guys out at Langley.
Well, we're really excited about getting you all out here.
Well, what I've been hearing, the phone's been ringing off the hook here lately about people asking all kinds of questions about the model coming into town, and hopefully I'm answering them correctly. When I can't answer them, I let her answer. We've got answers for them. Look forward to it. Hopefully we'll have a real good turnout. From the way it sounds, hopefully we'll have a real good fan turnout.
Well, the way the buzz about it is, I think we're going to have a good car, and I think we're going to have a good fan turnout. I think people really want to come see these cars.
Yeah, something else that's going on, of course, for our show up there at Langley is Versus TV Network will be filming the show, and that will be shown on national TV Wednesday, September the 8th at 8 p.m., so your fans can come out and get in on the action and see themselves on TV later.
You've actually got a lot of these modified races coming up on Versus. They're getting ready to start playing some of your old ones too, aren't they?
That's true, and Speed TV loves our shows too. I think you're going to see a lot more modified racing on TV in the years to come.
Well, sir, I tell you what I certainly hope for, because what you see on TV, take that times 10.
Yep, that's right. And let me just say a word about Brian Morehouse, Langley boy that he is.
Give us the dirt, Sherry.
Oh, goodness, here we go.
Yeah, here's your opportunity, Sherry, to gig him, and everybody's listening.
Don't forget my mom's listening.
Oh, Brian came and joined our crew last year. And let me tell you what, he is turned into one of my key people. I have one problem with Brian. Everybody else wants to borrow him. Brett Cup wants to borrow him. Nationwide wants to borrow him. Craftsman Truck, or Camping World Truck, want to borrow him. All the other regional tours want to borrow him. I'm just afraid somebody's going to steal him. I don't know what y'all do up there at Langley, but you train them right. Brian is a big, big part of our crew, and I appreciate it.
It's been great this year. Like you said, loaned me out to the Cup. Had a little bit of experience up there and got to nationwide, also trucks, along with the Pro Series East class. And then just joining the Northern Modified the other night at Bristol. Hope y'all guys got to see that race. That was really a good race from what I got to see of it, because we were really busy on the ground that night. But it's been a lot of fun, a lot of experience, a lot of stories to be able to tell y'all guys when we drink beer one night.
Well, it was a good race, and we enjoyed seeing it on TV, and like I said, you got to go see one live to really appreciate them.
That's right, you do.
Listen, Sherry, we're going to let you go so we can get some other people to call in here.
I think that's a great idea, because I've got 2 hungry family members standing at the door looking at me.
Appreciate you calling, Sherry, and looking forward to seeing you.
Same here.
And looking forward to meeting you, so we'll see you here in a couple weeks.
Sounds good. Bye, guys.
Thanks, Sherry. See, Brian, she wasn't too bad. She didn't throw you under the bus too much.
And it scared me, man. Mom's listening. I didn't know what was going to be said. I thought y'all boys were going to get me fired or something.
Nah, we wouldn't do that to you.
I'll Bill tomorrow morning and ask him if I could come back.
I think we can arrange that if you want to.
I mean, I think we'll always be home, man. I tell you, it's great to be back with the Modified. Good show. Area, really loyal. Big people who come out of Langley, as we talked about in previous shows.
Hey, Brian. Brian.
Yeah.
Speak up.
Can you hear me?
Barely.
Hear me now?
That sounded better.
Okay. But no, really looking forward to coming back home. Langley will always be home, and just looking forward to coming back and seeing everybody and being able to put on a car and race.
And you will be up for the modified race, right?
Yeah. I will
Okay.
be up for the Modified, and I will be in Richmond the following weekend. So I'm really looking forward to that. That was my ultimate dream, was to always work a Richmond race. Now I'm finally getting up.
And you're going to be there, right?
Yes, I will be at both of them. I tell you, again, I want to tell y'all guys, the buzz around is everybody's calling, asking questions about these mods, out that Saturday night that we're going to be there, the weekend coming up, things that are going to be going on, things that Langley is pushing. it's just a lot of excitement in the air, and it really feels good to be able to come back to something like that and be able to come back with full force and cars out there, and hopefully we'll just be able to perform one heck of a show.
Brian, being a past official at Langley and knowing what the track is and what kind of racing it's produced with our modifieds, I mean, what's your opinion of how good the racing may be with these Southern Modified Tour? These cars are going to be awful fast at Langley Speedway.
They are, and as you know, back in 2000, they were the Smart Modified Tour. They came down, and they were fast, real fast. And I was just down at Langley a couple of weeks ago. Bill had me and my family, and I saw the anti-turn and exit lane. That's going to be a big plus for our guys. A very safe issue, which is very important to us. But I think it's going to be pretty fast and race that is just going to be one that you know.
We got Doc looking at something. What are you looking for?
Trying to figure out. We got Darrel Krentz.
Yeah.
Oh, we got Darrel on the line?
Yeah, not yet. I have to
Get him on there.
I'm gonna step across the camera.
Yeah, just step across the screen.
Here.
Charles West says to say hi. The King says hi.
Hey, tell him I said hi. It was really nice seeing him when I was down there. I've had him on my Facebook. You won't believe how many people have wrote me and said, I am so glad to see you got to meet the King. I told him, I said, yeah, he's at Langley every weekend. Reduced attendance for y'all guys. I told him he sits down in turns 3 and 4.
He's always down there. I sent my brother a picture. My dad got to meet Charles here a few weeks ago when he was up, and my brother said, Richard Petty comes there? Like, well, yeah.
I'm going to tell you, if you ever see Charles, I tell you, he's spitting image of Richard Petty. You look at the pictures on my Facebook, and you're just sort of like, man, that is Richard Petty right there.
Yep.
So many people have commented on that. I can't tell them that it's not the King. It is the King, but it's not Richard Petty the King. But, yeah. How's Charles doing? He doing okay?
Yeah, he's doing pretty good. He helped us out last week. He helped Bill out with the Race of Champions, or the Night of Champions, and that was something else to see.
Really? I heard y'all had, 30 years of champions down there?
We had 14 out of the 16 champions in the past 30 years.
Awesome. So I imagine y'all had Elton Sawyer, Roger Sawyer, Bert. Gosh, I can't even name them all. It's been so many. Brother Adam.
Okay, I'll go. I can do this. Charlie Doyle, Elton Sawyer, Roger Sawyer, Bubba Adams. I said Charlie Doyle. Chip Hudson.
Chip Hudson. That's who I was forgetting.
Greg and Danny Edwards, Mark Wirtz, Tommy Cherry, Eddie Johnson. I think the only two that didn't make it were Chip Hudson and Mike Buffkin.
Oh, okay. I'll be darned. That's amazing to get all that type of talent back in there for 30 years worth of champions. That's really great.
Boy, I bet there was a lot of fishing stories going on.
I don't know if I'd exactly call them fishing.
Well, that's being nice about it.
Definitely some whoppers probably being tossed out.
Well, listen, Brian, we're going to let you go because we got some more coming in. We got Darrel on the other line.
All righty. Well, y'all guys take care. We'll see you in about a week and a half. And thanks again for having me on the show.
And Brian, it's great to have an ex-Langley official move up in NASCAR and be where you are today. And I know you're having a ball. It's been one of your life dreams. And, man, I just think it's great for you. And I thank you for all the support you've given me in doing some of the things I've been able to accomplish down there.
Well, like I said, man, you always remember your friends. And I know I got some great friends back there at Langley Speedway. And like I said, I'll always be home. And I appreciate y'all guys teaching me what I know so I could move up. And like I said, we'll be seeing you in about a week and a half. Y'all guys take care. Have a good race weekend, and we'll definitely see you next weekend.
Okay. You got it.
One more thing, Brian. This is Charles. How you doing?
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing just fine. Look here. I'm not going to be able to make it the modified race weekend for next. I'm going to be in Georgia, so maybe I'll get with you next time.
Well, why don't you come on down when you're down here in Charlotte? You look me up. We'll modified race here October 14th on the quarter mile pole night. So if you get down here, definitely give me a call. We'll go out and get something to eat and try to show you a little bit of the town of what I know about it.
Sure will. I'll definitely be there October 25th at Richard Petty Place.
Oh, well,
so maybe I'll get there a week earlier.
Well, I tell you what, put me up and get my number from the guys, and we'll definitely go around town and see some nice places.
Okay, bud. Thank you a lot now.
Thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate it.
All right, Brian. Is he on yet?
He's already been on. He's been there listening to you guys jabberjawing away.
Yeah, I'm just hanging out here listening to what you guys got to say. What's happening?
Well, you working on that car right now? Are you in the shop turning wrenches? Or
I am. I'm bending over setting the bump steer on this thing right now.
Wow, that's cool. And for y'all that don't know it, this is Darrel Krentz. He's executive director of NX, and he's responsible for helping. I blame him totally being responsible for bringing the NX Nationals to Langley. But he's also races this Southern Modified Series, and he has a lot of fun with that. And I know you did a lot of racing in Nevada, Darrel, in modifieds out on the West Coast. So this modified thing's going to be pretty cool, and I'm really glad you're coming to Langley Speedway to race and have some fun there.
Well, I'm certainly looking forward to it, but actually my background out west was all in stock cars, late models and whatnot, and always wanted to race one of these East Coast modifieds. And as far as I'm concerned, there's only one kind of modified out there, and that's those East Coast, New England type modifieds like I've finally managed to get myself into, and I'm just having the time of my life with this whole thing.
How long you been in this modified?
I think I probably ran my first modified race in 2004, 2003. And, I'm real hit and miss with my job with NX and working with the Legends guys. It keeps me pretty busy, but boy, every once in a while I get to jump in that old modified and go out and go wheel to wheel at some of those guys, and I just have a heck of a time. It's a lot of fun. They're all really good competitors and real great to race with, and like I said, I'm really excited and looking forward to coming up to Langley in a couple weeks.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Certainly.
It says the car owner is Lynette Krentz. So does that mean you've got like a list of things on the kitchen wall or maybe in the garage, and you have to check all these honeydews off, and then she checks a box off that says you may go racing now? Or
you're absolutely right. I had, when we got the entry blank for Langley and I wanted to be the first one to enter that race, I had to, sit her down and ask her permission if I could race, and then of course she had to actually sign. I mean, it's not just yes dear you can go race, it's just she has to sign, and that's even tougher.
Exactly. And is anything in this contract between you and her got something to do with you not singing Waltzing Matilda?
Yeah, we've that Waltzing Matilda deal, that was an old Phoenix Copper World Classic deal where I was singing Waltzing Matilda, and I'm banned from ever singing Waltzing Matilda again.
I heard a story about that one time, and that's why I thought I'd bring it up. I'm probably the only guy in this area that knows your Waltzing Matilda story, so I figured I'd reveal it to all these people that are listening in, Darrel.
Well, should we enlighten them to it? The whole deal is behind that Waltzing Matilda.
It's a pretty good story if you want to let it fly. If it won't put you in the doghouse, feel free.
Well, I'll tell you, we were taking our late model down to the Copper Classic down in Phoenix. It was an annual deal for us. We used to race at Phoenix quite a bit. And I had this old guy who was helping me, was from Australia, and had worked on the car with me for quite a while, was riding with me down there, and he taught me the song Waltzing Matilda, and I got it going in your head. It's kind of like it's one of those songs that you just can't get out of your head. So I'm singing that, and then we had picked up my wife, but then she was just my girlfriend at the airport, and I keep singing Waltzing Matilda, and she goes, I do not want to hear that song again. You can take me back to the dang airport and send me back to, I was living in Reno at the time. And, okay, honey, no problem. We won't sing that Waltzing Matilda. Well, during the race, she had some headphones, so they were able to monitor our radios in the car.
We can see where this one's heading.
We'd had a yellow flag, and she was sitting right next to another buddy of mine that was racing, his girlfriend. They were sitting together scoring, and they provide the scorekeepers. And she was asking my wife about, and like I said, my girlfriend at that point in time, asking her, what do the guys talk about? And she goes, well, here, you can listen. So she puts the headphones on this buddy of mine, his girlfriend, up there in the grandstands or the tower, wherever they were. and she looks at Lynette and goes, "He's singing." And Lynette looks at her and goes, "Waltzing Matilda?" And she goes, "Yes." Knowing that my wife couldn't answer back because she only had a scanner, I figured I'd get even with her and sing Waltzing Matilda because she couldn't do nothing about it. And I'll tell you what, that was too many years ago, but we still laugh a lot about it, and it is a pretty funny story. And of course, when you've raced as long as I have a million of them crazy stories, and that's some of the best memories of racing, you know, growing up racing and racing as a young man and doing all the crazy things that we did. That's some of the best memories. You know, you remember winning the big races, you know, and winning championships and this and that, but some of the quirkiest little stories are the ones that you seem to remember the most and you get the most enjoyment out of, you know?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely, Darrell. And, you know, thank God for Lynette Krentz and gals like my wife Kendra that allows you and I to keep doing what we love to do.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. And she's been a real trooper. And like I said, we've got a million crazy stories, and we'll still every once in a while we'll be sitting down over dinner or something, and she'll come up with, "Do you remember when?" And we'll laugh or reminisce about the different things or the different people that we've met. You know, and like I said, we've gone from coast to coast racing and meeting people and doing all sorts of crazy things. So.
Yeah, and now and then I know I get one of your stories. That's how I knew the Waltzing Matilda tale, and I always enjoy them, and I enjoy seeing you, and we're really looking forward to having you up here in your modified car.
Yeah, talking about crazy things, going to Langley to race that modified. Holy cow, that's going to be a great adventure, and I'll tell you what, you and your fans are really in for a great show. These modified guys. To start with, the cars are just ridiculous. I mean, they're inch wide tires. They have 2 inches of ride height. They're super fast. The guys that run in this Southern Series are very talented, very experienced drivers, and they race together a lot. And they're pretty doggone clean drivers. So you'll see some Nerf bars, clicking and clanking in the corners and slipping and sliding, and very close racing. And some real good stuff. So the whole Hampton, Virginia group's in for a great treat.
Yeah, you've never raced at Langley, correct?
No, I've never turned a lap around. I think Bill took me around in the golf cart one time. Maybe it was you, Chuck. Was that Chuck that we was just talking?
No, this is Matt.
Oh, I'm sorry. You sound a little bit like Chuck. Yeah, no, just riding around the golf cart with Bill is about as close as I've ever come to making a lap there.
Thomas, I know you're on the line, and I know you're listening to this, and I want to get to you in 1 second. We got Thomas Stinson on the line, too. But, Darrell, we got another big event coming up, and I want you to touch a little bit on that. We've got the Nationals.
It's the 18th annual Legends Nationals. It's a pretty big deal. I talked with one of our better racers earlier this week, coming all the way from Alberta, Canada. He's already got his reservations made. We've got drivers coming from all over the country to come down there to Langley, and I'll tell you, you saw a little bit of that Legends Million, the Legends Million that was on Speed Channel, and you're going to see that kind of caliber of Legends competitors. I certainly expect that Daniel Hemrick, who won the Legends Million, will be in attendance. He hasn't missed a national in several years. In fact, I'm trying to think. I don't think Daniel Hemrick has ever won a national event, so that's one of the few things that he hasn't accomplished. So I think he's going to be there to try to put the icing on that, that $1 million Legends win, and come up there to Lane. But it's going to be a great event. We've got some great drivers coming from all over the country.
And how about some of the young talent, Darrell? I mean, we know what Gray's done up here. The boy out of Texas, his first name's Bobby. I think you knew his last name. I should know it, but man, some of the young talent that's been coming up here that I've seen with NX, it's unbelievable, the driving talent that some of these younger guys have that are in your series.
Yeah, our little a man's got to do what a man's got to do driver. We're looking forward to having him out there. And yeah, there are some great youngsters. And what's great too is, we get those young Lions, and they'll run a separate division altogether. So they can really get after it. And then, of course, we'll have the Masters. They'll all run separate, and they're all 40 and over. And they put on a great race in and of itself because they have a little bit more respect for each other. They'll race a little bit more cleanly. They're definitely aggressive, and they definitely want to be the ones to cross the finish line first. However, once the race is over, you get the top 3 or 4 out there in victory lane, and they're all shaking hands and high-fiving. They just have a great time out there. So we'll get to see all these different divisional Legends cars. Certainly appeal to every type of race fan's desires, for that Legends Nationals.
Yeah, absolutely. Gray flew up here for the Pro Cup race, and I think he flew up with Chip Lofton, and we spent some time with him and talked to him, and I did a little interview, and just what a great representative of racing at his age. And not him, but there's many like him in your series. I know Tyler Lester is in your series. He's one of the past kids that was in Hampton Roads Kart Club, a go-kart racing champion up here that moved down to your area to pursue his future in racing, and has done fairly well. And Charles Lester, his mother Janet Lester was on my kart club board. So it's really interesting to me. I've got a lot of interest in bandoleros up in this area, and we've talked about that. So I'm very excited about it, and I believe that we're very, very excited about the Nationals at Langley, and what a fantastic event to host. And I personally can't thank you enough for all you've done to help me in the racetrack.
No problem. I'm looking forward to coming up again for the modified race. Heck, I might as well just get an apartment and stay up there until the Legends Nationals. I'm sure I'll be up there 3 or 4 more times between now and then to hang out and watch how things all unfold up there. Really excited about the improvements that have been done to the track. I'm dying to see that in person.
You'll like them.
Absolutely.
Legends Racing.
Yeah, and of course that I have a 4-bay race shop with an apartment over top of it, so you have no excuse. Just come on up.
Yeah, I would certainly have enough seafood to eat while I was there, I'm sure.
Yeah, we might be able to make arrangements for you to get a 1 crab cake sandwich or something.
So what do you guys now this week? What's going on this week out at Langley? What's special deal you got?
50-lap modified. The Pro 6 are back for 30, and that's the only. I think the trucks are back. Super trucks are back. Grand stocks, and is it U cars or is it Super Streets this week?
Oh, gee, you're putting me on the spot because I don't keep all of it in my head, but I believe it's probably U cars back. It might be.
And the U cars are back, so
I think it could be
a regular exciting night. And I think our caller on the other line, Thomas, you going to be there this Saturday?
Yeah, definitely. We're going to be there. We've been running for the points all year long, and only like 4 cars behind Belucho. He's been running strong. We're just trying to hang in there. We finally wrapped up Southside Championship, so now we can kind of concentrate on nothing but Langley.
Right. Yeah, Thomas, and I haven't said this to you this year. I don't circulate the pits that often because people want to take me out back and hang me or get rid of me or something, but it's special for me for you to be at Langley Speedway running in this modified series. You've got a great reputation racing modifieds in this area, and I've always been a Thomas Stinson fan. Don't want to tell Sean Beluso or anybody that, but I'm glad you're there. We appreciate it from a racetrack standpoint, and the fact that you're also driving in the Southern Modified race, I just think that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's going to be real exciting. I've actually held off of a couple of those Southern Modified races just so I can run Langley, because we don't have the funds a lot of them teams have, and if you tear it up, it really costs a lot to fix these cars because they go so fast. And I told the guys I didn't want to run Bowman Gray, and we didn't go to Bristol so that we could run Langley.
Absolutely.
I can certainly relate to that. We just finished fixing ours from the little incident there at South Boston, and you start scrubbing parts off of those modifieds, it gets expensive in a hurry.
Darrell, Thomas is probably the one that'll get around here better. He's not going to have to fight this track as much as everybody else, I would guess.
Yeah, the home field advantage definitely is a great, is definitely a valuable advantage, and I might have to get Tom and get some pointers from him for sure.
I think we can get you hooked up. Thomas, would you help out Darrell?
Well, I tell you what, if anybody wants to get a sneak preview, I'll be down there Friday morning from 9 to 1 o'clock, and I'm going to practice at NASCAR Wheeling Southern Modified, and we're going to see what we can do and get around there.
Well, cool. That would be great.
So if you know there's some fans listening or people want to know, you know, come out Friday morning if they can, and we're going to run some laps, try to get a little practice on it, maybe try to get a little, you know, heads up on these guys, because these cars are so totally different from our regular modifieds that we run, and it's like you can't carry nothing from the IMSA modifieds to the Wheeling modifieds because they're like two different cars. But we're going to go there and practice because, you know, NASCAR won't let you race or won't let you practice a week prior to a race.
Yep.
Yep.
By Friday.
That's right, Thomas. And, you know, Darrel wanted to come up and do some practicing. I'm not sure he's putting his car together. I hope he can get up here. But, you know, you're running up front every Saturday night out here. I don't know how many laps you've got at Langley Speedway, a million laps out here. And I know your comfort level will be there in this modified car. And I just wish the best of luck to you.
Well, we can definitely use some luck. And hopefully we'll be the fan favorites out there. And, you know, I want to ask everybody that comes, and if you know, they do a driver introduction, you know, stand up, give us a holler, because it sure makes us feel good. And, you know, if we run anything like we did at South Boston, you know, we had clutch problems on lap 50. And we still finished fourth, which that's a real strong finish for us, because we really are underdog and an under-budget race team. But I tell you what, we're going to give everything we got at Langley. It doesn't matter how I bring it home. I'm going to try to bring it home. And, you know, I'm going to run it as hard as it possibly ran.
Ruckers or checkers, huh?
That's what it is.
It looks like that. I think that's the regular. That's a standing deal for Saturday nights, isn't it, Thomas? I haven't seen you be non-aggressive or non-fast. So, I mean, it looks like to me every time you come run, you put your all in it, and that's the kind of compassion it takes to put the work behind these race teams.
Well, that's true, and it's just like that little short rough track at Bowman Gray. These guys are going to come up here, and this is a short track to them too. And it's like at Bowman Gray, you know, Madhouse boys, they going to come up here, they going to beat and bang, they rub. I mean, that's what them Nerf bars are for. And don't think it's just going to be a laid-back race. There's going to be some rubbing, some banging, might be some tempers. But I can tell you what, these guys with the NASCAR Wheeling Modifieds, they get down. And it's like I say, you can't compare it to the IMSA Modifieds, because there's no comparison.
I tell you what, let's get Darrel off the line. We got two more people that are supposed to call in. Hopefully they're going to call in quick. Darrel, we're going to see you 2 weeks at the modified race, and then we're going to see you at the Nationals. Do you got any sponsors you got to thank?
Well, you know, we've got the Lucas Oil on the side of the old modified. Lucas Oil has been, you know, pretty good to us. They're a lot of fun to have on board, but I guess that's about it. And of course, Z-Max for the Legends Nationals. But I'm really looking forward to coming up and hanging out with you guys, and we'll have a great time. You'll be seeing a lot of me here over the next few weeks. So
good. Well, we look forward to seeing you, Darrel, and have good. Get that car ready.
Just, you know, get a video camera or some sort of taping device and tape Thomas when he goes out there and runs some laps on Friday, so I can get, you know, so I can get a little bit of a, you know, get some pointers.
Get some pointers.
We'll have Taylor Maine do a video.
We need somebody over his shoulder there in the pit area. Get some of the, you know, the cross and the stagger and the, you know, some of the other things.
Yeah, well, we're going to video his scaling session and everything, and I'm sure Thomas won't mind.
Need all the help I can get, that's for sure. All right, you guys. Hey, it's been a pleasure. Bill will be in touch. You guys have a great time out there, and Thomas, look forward to seeing you.
You too, man.
All right, guys.
All right, Darrel. We'll see you later.
Right,
Thank you,
bye-bye.
Darrel. Talk to you soon.
Darrel's on 2.
No, Darrel's on 1.
Thomas, you still there?
Yeah, I'm there.
All right. First things first. Thomas Stinson, tell us a little bit about you. Where'd you get started at?
Well, I actually got started from my hometown, Chester, Virginia. Everybody knows the little track, Southside Speedway. We started running there about 20 years ago. A fellow named Earl Hunter started me in the street stock. We ran that. And then we kind of moved up to what they call the Charge Division, which is now a Grand Stock. And then we went from there into the Modifieds. We've been running the Modifieds now for about 13 years, something like that. And, have a lot of fun with it. I think the 13 years we've been in it, I think we've accumulated 14 modified championships. And we've got a couple championships in the charge division, so it's about 16 championships, that we have. We've been pretty fortunate.
You sure have, Thomas. I mean, that's a record to be proud of. That many championships is something that people just don't have the opportunity to do that much racing in their life and have that much continued success. You've done one heck of a job in that series.
And yeah, we've come a long way. I never realized that we'd even have a championship, not even one. And to come as far as we have, couldn't do it without the team that I've got. I got the same group of guys, Mark Hunter, Earl Hunter, and Happy Hunter. Same guys that's helped me ever since day one. And old Happy Hunter, he's like 86 years old, still cutting split wood every day. I don't think he's ever missed a race. So it's guys like that to keep me going, and the sponsors, of course. And Gordon's Jewelers, he's been with us as long as we've been in it, almost 20 years probably. He's probably one of the longest running sponsors we've had. But we're really, really looking forward to coming up here and running these wheeling cars. I'm kind of doing this more or less for the people at Langley, fans, because, to have a hometown person in a NASCAR race like that, that's pretty big time. And it's going to be pretty big time for us, too,
Absolutely. And it's pretty big time for me to have you racing there every Saturday night. And you really bring a lot to the show down there. Your reputation, everybody knows you're the man in modifieds, and you, Sean Beluso, Rusty Wood, you guys that run up front, it's been awesome. And Joe Scarborough too, he's up there. I don't know who I'm missing. I don't want to be missing anybody, but I mean, it's just been great to have you at Langley Speedway with us this year.
It's no doubt. Sean's been hooked up this year. He's running real well. Rusty has run real well. It's like we've lost a little handle on the car, it seems like, at Langley. We used to come out there and do pretty good. The times we would come, we kind of dominated, and that was good. But we came back this year to run for the championship, and we've struggled a little bit. It's kind of hard when them guys are running every race, for the last, 5 or 6 years in the modified. It's just like them trying to come to Southside and run with us out there. It's kind of hard. And when you're running for 2 championships, we have ran as much for 3 championships before. We run like Southside, we ran to South Boston. I mean, at one time we were running like 50 races a year.
Wow.
Yeah, and do you even know, Thomas, how many modified wins you have to your name? Has anybody got those statistics?
Well, we've got the stickers on the car, and all I can tell you is it's well over 100. It's and that's just strictly modified feature wins. That's not trophy dashes. That's not heat races. Just feature wins. We have well over 100 some races.
Yeah.
And I found this kind of funny about you. You've been using the same car for quite a long time, haven't you?
Well, I've got my old car that I had since 1997, and Brett Hamilton said that was like one of the second cars he ever built. So that car is like, I want to say, it's got to be 16 years old, 15 years old. But we bought a new Brett Hamilton car, which we've had for like, I think the last 5 years, and we've been running. But I still have both of them, the one they call the old dinosaur car.
Yeah.
In fact, we've wrapped up Southside Speedway's track championship. We don't have to run the last race. We said we wanted to do something different for the fans. I was going to either start in the rear or start one lap down or something like that. But now we decided to bring out the old dinosaur car, and I'm going to run the old car. Last race at Southside Speedway and just see what we can do in the old car.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, it's something different for the fans. Instead of being the 4, we'll be the 41.
Now, are you bringing the 4 down for your race this weekend?
Yeah, we're bringing the 4. We're trying to run Beluso down for that championship, but you don't want to wreck nobody. You don't want to knock them out if they're leading the championship. You try to race them really hard, and Beluso's had the handle on the track this year, and we've been playing catch up. But we're not going to give this thing up, and I'm going to run tire for tire, Nerf bar for Nerf bar, because I ain't going to give him nothing, and I know he's not going to give me nothing. So I'm sure it's going to be exciting for the fans.
You're one of the first modified drivers that I've seen, and you did it last year, and I think a couple years ago when you guys were coming down a little bit. You're the only one in a modified that I've seen that can go to the outside and make it work at Langley Speedway.
And we could do that, but since we've been running these new tires that they're running now, it seems like I can't get my car hooked up as good on the outside to make that run.
Right.
We're working on it, and even if we have to, next year we'll come back, run for another championship, and we're going to only get better. I've not really seen us fall off as much, but we're going to try to get better, and we're going to make them a run. We're going to make them earn it.
Yeah. You got a good bunch of guys out there. Do you really enjoy running with all these guys? I mean, is there any rivalries out there?
Well, I tell you, you're going to always have a rivalry pretty much anywhere you go. If you're at a hometown track, you're going to have somebody you rival with. Like at Southside, we've had rivalries with Billy Mars. We used to run with Chris Johnson and Eddie Johnson, in the modifieds out there.
Yeah.
But like at Langley, you come to Langley and you have rivalries like Sean Belushi, I've run the tour, and I used to have rivals with, like Ronnie Davis and Craig Oliver and stuff. But
yep.
You're always going to have rivals. We try not to get too upset, but that's what makes, good races. You got to go to win, and that's what you go. I only go to win. I don't want second place.
Exactly.
Yes. Second place is the first loser. That's what Matt used to tell me when he was helping me back when we were racing four-cylinder cars.
Exactly. That's what my guys there, and it's win it on mine.
That's it.
Absolutely.
That's the attitude you got to have when you show up at a racetrack.
When we come home, they said, "What did you do?" And we finished. I said, "Oh, we finished second." They're like, "Well, what happened?" They know they expect us to win every one of them, and that's what we go for.
Exactly.
We have a second or a third. They always want to know what happened.
Yeah, well, I think it takes that winning attitude for the team and the driver to produce wins, Thomas. You know that. You got to believe that you can do it to get it done, and I think just having that good mentality that you're a winner, you expect to win, and you're not really satisfied with a lot less is not a bad quality to have for a racer.
Right. If people, want to know how good of a team I got and the guys that work on this car, they work on that car about 7 days a week.
Yep.
You go to Southside's website and you look up our past 5 years, we have almost a 1.5 to a 2.1 finishing average.
Wow.
In the last 5 years, and I'm like, that's just kind of unheard of, and I'm proud of it. But that goes to say a lot for my guys. We don't have breakdowns. We don't have blown motors. We don't have nothing really happening. And plus, we try not to crash the car. So that helps.
Yeah, exactly.
Enough for the guys. To have a 1 point thump finish. That's pretty good.
Yeah, you better believe it.
Now you got the Southern Modified. You got to run these next two Modified races, and you're also going to do that Southern Modified.
Yeah, we have both sides up there that same weekend. We have the IMSA Modified and the Southern Modified. So I'll be running in both divisions.
Are you looking forward to doing something like that? Have you ever done a double race like that?
Yeah, I have. I've done them. I believe it was like, well, they were at Kinley one time, and we ran the IMSA Modified Kinley. And I tell you, if anything, we did it at I think it was, I can't remember the track, but anyway, it does kind of mesh up a little bit because the Southern Modifieds have so much horsepower and the tires are so wide, you can throw them in the corner so much harder. Modified, and you try to throw that thing in the corner that hard, and you're going for a ride.
Yeah.
And that's why I kind of hope we run the small modifieds first, because if we run, it makes you overdrive the little modifieds after you get out of the big ones.
Well, Bill, do we got a lineup for that night?
Well, I do and I don't, but I think what we're going to do, Thomas, I hate to tell you, but I think NASCAR's plan is we're going to run a 20-lap champ kart race to shake things down, and then we're going to do a big driver introduction for both the modifieds, and I believe we're probably going to run the NASCAR modified race, because of the TV crew and the timing involved and things like that, and we'll probably run a Legends race. And what else have I got running that night?
I think that's it. It's all open wheel.
And I've got our 50-lap modified race, so you'll probably run. We'll probably run champ karts, the Southern Modified Tour race, a Legends race, and then maybe the Langley Speedway modified race. So I hate to do that to you, but maybe you should ride in a Legends car in between the two, and then you'll be ready to go back into regular modified.
That would be a
So I'll get you a Legends car ride. You can just stay on the track riding all three of them.
And you know, I would do it too, but my guy said that I'd drive a daggone space shuttle if they let me.
Well, I heard that about you before. That's why I suggested to see what you're
He
going
drove
to
a
say.
champ cart last year. You drove a champ cart last year, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I had this guy named Alan Purser that run the go-kart.
Yep.
Yep.
He was renting my old modified at Southside. He said, "You want to run a champ cart?" And I'm like, "You bring it, I'll run it."
And
Hey, of all people, what I do, I spun Alan Purser out.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, I remember that.
I raced many champ kart races myself with Alan Purser in Macca and at the kart club, and he's one of my favorite guys from up in the Richmond area. I know he lives pretty close to Southside, and when I was up there playing with the Pro 6, he'd come see me sometime. But I know Alan Purser personally, and we've had a lot of fun racing with Alan in the past in the champ karts.
Yeah, he's been struggling in the modified a little bit. He rents my old car from me. He said there's a world of difference coming from a champ kart, to a modified. But he's been struggling, and he's had a few crashes. He's wrecked some people and got on people's bad side. But you can't just jump in one of these things and take off, because these modifieds are a handful.
Yep.
You think they're a handful? Like I say, get in these southern modifieds, and they're really a handful.
Yeah.
With that big tire on there, does that actually help out a lot to kind of keep them under control?
Well, it does, but it's like the tires that they run, the IMSA modifieds, they're a little more generous. Like, you can kind of slide them and move them around. These things, you're running so hard, and they stick like glue.
Right.
Go to let go, they let go, and it's not much catching it. I'm telling you.
Right.
Probably not much warning either. You get to a certain point, and then pop, she's gone out from under you, and that's it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think the fans are going to be all excited. I think they're going to want to see these things come back, and I swear I hope NASCAR brings them back. I hope Langley brings them back.
Absolutely. I mean, you might not know this, but it was my seafood company that went to Langley Speedway several years ago and said, when you bring modifieds, I'm your sponsor. So I was a little instrumental a few years back in reintroducing modifieds at Langley by telling the track that I'd sponsor that division when it came back. So I've always been a modified guy. I love the modifieds and watched them on dirt a lot up in Saluda, and I've really enjoyed modified racing myself, Thomas, and I'm very glad they're at Langley Speedway.
Are you talking about the BC seafood?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's what we need to put on this southern modified for the Langley race, the BC seafood modified.
You have to call me. I'm the B of B&C Seafood. That's another one of my jobs.
Okay then. Yeah, because I've been fortunate. A guy, Kenny Hoffman, owns M&M Custom Building. They do painting and stuff. And I tell you, he's the one that really got me to Langley this year, because I was low on sponsors, and I had just enough kind of to run Southside. And my nephew, Forrest, he told Kenny about us, and he said, tell him to come to Langley, and I'll talk to him. And we put that M&M custom painting on it.
Right.
I told him that I would try to run that, sponsorship in this Wheeling Modified race. So, if there's anybody else out there around the Langley area that wants to do something, we can sure use some help. But, regardless whether we get it or we don't get it, we're going to be there.
Absolutely.
It's just a matter of, you're going to be there no matter what, but the more money, the better off you'd be, wouldn't it?
Exactly. And, it ain't always about the money. It definitely helps. But get these decals on the car and make it look like a real race car instead of a plain car running around the racetrack. You have something to talk about, something to show off,
I got you.
I'm hoping we'll have a few on it up there. I got a plain white car, got a orange number 7. And that's the number that NASCAR give us, number 7. And that's what I'll be running. But I hope I'll have that M&M custom painting on it.
Well, we'd like to see you with it on there. We'd like to see a couple more on there, and that brings up a good point. You've got a couple of sponsors, and I know you're looking for more. Which ones do you got now right now?
Well, for Wheeling Southern Modified race, I only got M&M custom painting. That's the only one. But we've had a couple people we're trying to talk to, even if they just want to buy us a tire, 2 tires, whatever. We're going to take anything. We're glad to put the name on the car. We're not going to turn down nothing.
Okay, what about your IMCA car? Who do you got for sponsors? Let's plug your sponsors a little bit.
All right, for that, I have the M&M Custom Painting, Kenny Hoffman, because, he's the one that brought us to Langley. But, I have a long time running Coward's Jewelers, Ryan Coward. We got New Image Cleaning Services, we got RJ Smith, and Truck Outfitters, and Camel Spring Farms, and Hollywood Grass. Because of all them people, they're the ones that put it together and help us keep things going.
Cool. Well, listen, Tom's, it's great to have you on the show. You're going to be out there Friday, 9 to 1, testing out the Southern Modified. Maybe we could talk you into bringing it down Saturday?
I probably could do, well, if everything goes good and everything, worked out, I might could bring it Saturday if they wanted us to run maybe a couple laps in it or something,
Yeah, we'd like to do that, or put it on display right there at the entry and let the fans take a look at it. And
yeah, we could probably do something like that.
And we'll certainly give you a call, Thomas, between now and Saturday, and I'll give you a call sometime tomorrow, and you and I will discuss a few more things.
All right. Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate y'all having us on here and everything. Y'all getting us on here, it kind of helps. Might have some people call us, and we might make that number 7 Wheeling Southern Modified car get on around at track at Langley.
I no doubt in my mind that you're going to be up there in the top 5 at least. No doubt in my mind.
At least we'll have an idea of what kind of times they're going to run.
Yeah.
But I think the modified run about 16, 70, 80, something like that.
16 8s and 9s, yeah.
I'm looking for like 15, low 15 for these wheeling cars.
I'm thinking, yeah, you guys are going to qualify around 15 5s, 15 4s. But I think you're going to be about 16 2s and 3s during the race.
Better idea Friday.
Yeah.
We'll let you know.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop out and see.
We'll probably have a stopwatch on you from a helicopter or something. So
You'll definitely know what flat track is.
Somebody will know how fast you are before you know, Thomas.
You're right.
Yeah.
I brought my 4-car up here one day. I didn't really tell nobody that I was coming to practice. And, when I got there, I already seen a couple heads peeking over the fence and all. So they knew I was coming before I knew I was coming.
Yeah, there's people out there, I say they got, I don't know what they've got, it's some type of car telepathy, because when a late model shows up or somebody that's supposed to be fast, all of a sudden there are these people that show up. And I don't know how they knew what was going to happen. And I don't know what they're doing over there, if they got a spy that lives right there in the trailer park, but I see it a lot of times. Somebody shows up, and next thing you know, there's 3 people standing there in turn 2 with a stopwatch.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a camera at NASA.
One that'll probably be peeking over the wall. I ain't gonna mention no names like Sean Blucho.
Yeah.
Over the wall.
That's right. That's exactly right.
You got to keep up with that competition, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
All right. Well, Thomas, we're going to let you get going here, and I'll see you Friday. Good luck this weekend, and we'll be seeing you at the Southern Modified race.
All right, and I want to thank y'all and thank Langley Speedway for having all these things and for treating us so good when we come there. I say Langley Speedway. I've raced probably at 20 different racetracks in my life, and we've won at every single one except one, and that was Orange County. But ain't none of them treated us as well as Langley Speedway.
Well, you guys put on a good show for them. That's why you guys get treated good.
We appreciate it.
And that's our goal, Thomas. And that treatment really isn't special for you. It's how we want to treat everybody that comes in the racetrack. Whether it's, I'm president of the kart club, and we start these kids kart racing 5 years old. Matt's the race director, and we want to treat everybody that comes to Langley Speedway to race the same way. And I hope it's not something special. I hope it's our normal way of doing things, making you guys feel welcome. And Matt and I both were involved in racing in the past. Matt's still racing, and he helped me in the past, and I am really your people. We believe in our racers, and that's where we came from, and that's where our heart is.
Exactly, and it don't go unnoticed, because I've heard so many people talk about Langley, and I've never heard nothing bad. And the fans are just absolutely great. I can't believe the way the fans are and on, except us, from coming from another racetrack and on. I just can't stand up for the fans right at something.
Yeah, we've got great fans, Thomas, and a lot of them know what's going on. These fans, they're not just coming out there on Saturday night not knowing who they're looking at. And it's just like you, with the reputation you bring down there, you have a lot of fans at Langley Speedway. They knew who you were when you got there, and they know who you used to be when you visited now and then. But I heard a lot of positive response about the fact that you were racing there all the time this year, and we just really appreciate you being there. So it goes both ways. You guys treat us well, and we're trying to treat y'all well back.
Exactly, and I want them to know that I'm going to be there in that Southern Wheeler Modified to represent them, the fans, and I'm running for the fans. So whatever I do is for the fans at Langley Speedway.
Well, we're going to let everybody know that. That's fantastic.
Ooh, listen to that slide in. Fantastic.
Oh, yes, that's fantastic.
We're looking forward to it, believe you me. So, Thomas, go get them race cars ready. We'll see you here in a week.
Definitely.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Thomas.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm going to take your hand behind your back.
I know, I'm sitting here.
Oh, smack him, Bill. Next time you see.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be aware of background noise, don't you?
I finally got him to get off of a pen because he wanted to keep clicking it while he's talking. Got him down to pencils most of the time.
Working on Mason, just go back to sleep. That's all I got to say.
I wish all the boys had called in, but you can't ever tell.
Well, look who we had on there. We had Sherry, we had Darrel, we had Thomas, we had Brehm Morehouse. I mean, there's some good people.
During the prime time, both the lines were full.
Yeah.
And so if they got busy signal, if they tried again, or they may not have.
They might have. So, but no, that's all right. We've got next week too. We can call some back and have a few more if we want.
Well, next week we'll call Sherry and get some drivers to call back in.
There you go.
I'll come back over and we'll talk again. I wouldn't invite myself to Roger's show.
No, you're always invited. You're always invited to come in. You know, and we're going to kind of throw this out here. Future for Langley Speedway. What do you got in store?
I just think, just keep figuring it out, Matt. I mean, it's we've got a well-grounded track there. I mean, I did all these improvements. A lot of them are visual. They're curb appeal improvements that are really for the fans and just to enhance the facility. And I don't have any big plans except keep her alive and keep on racing because everything's going so well. I don't want to change what's working, and it seems to be working. And we're just going to keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah. And I think that's what everybody wants to hear. There's so many tracks that are in peril right now that it's not even funny. I mean, we've heard of Southern National closing down. There's been 3 or 4 that are closing down. And if you've ever come out to Langley this year, it's actually growing. Yeah. It's not going down. We're actually blossoming. We're seeing decent car counts. We're seeing great fan turnout.
Yes.
Every time you look in them stands, you're seeing people.
Absolutely.
And
I mean, I've got Chuck Hall there. He's getting the word out. We've had some good TV advertisement. We've got an 11 o'clock Saturday morning TV show that's being picked up by Cox. It's supposed to go prime time, like 9 o'clock, 9:30. And in the evenings, I think on a Thursday or Friday night. So I think it's a combination of all of those things and the positive buzz that's been created that has got people's interest up. Plus, I mean, it's fantastic racing, and you and I both know that.
Yeah.
You were in one of those fantastic races last week, and it's just a good deal out there. I think it's a good value for a race fan. If anybody cares anything about cars, there's probably something worth seeing, worth the admission price that happens at that racetrack at some time during the night. And so really, I think we're just real lucky to be there. Our attendance is way up. If you go by actual records, and we have very accurate bookkeeping now, our attendance is up 40, 45, 50% on an average. And we pay taxes to the city of Hampton, and they know it too. So not only are we recognized, our racers are recognized in some improvement, the city and the municipality looks at us too. And I've got a great relationship with the city, you know that. And I tell the city, I live in their house. So we want a nice place that the city's proud of, that knows that we're really trying to do a good job out there with this Saturday night short track. And now and then the drivers get a little rough, and they can fuss and jump up and down, and I try to remind people, and I like discipline, and I want everybody to behave, but I said, look, I'm not running a Catholic boarding school or some type of boarding school here. I'm running a Saturday night short track, and if you didn't have the compassion that all these racers have to do all the work and spend all the money, no wonder they get out of the car and show emotion. So it's not a mystery that somebody should figure out that a lot of emotion goes with racing. They've paid a big sacrifice financially, personal time by the driver, the crew, the whole family. Like Stinson said, he's got 3 guys here that's been racing with him for 13, 14 years, preparing perfect cars that don't break down. And right there, that's huge. So, I mean, you see the dynamics of all that, and all of those things are vertically integrated to make a great show at a racetrack. So, Langley Speedway is a clean facility. That's our goal. But I have no show without our racers.
Exactly.
And actually, just like we all know, everybody wants to see the drama.
Absolutely, Roger. I mean,
they want to see, if anything, the close racing, whether it's some rubbing, get somebody a little loose, coming in and short-changing them on a final lap, or whether you have a little temper flare-up. I mean, hey, things can happen, whether it's accident, whether it's on purpose.
And it's Saturday night short track at its best, and that's what Matt and I can really get beat up sometimes. Kart club racing, parents don't like a certain call. I mean, Matt's been through the grinder. I mean, as a race director, sometimes I'm the grinder, sometimes I'm not. And but Matt and I have really come a long ways in our relationship over the years, from him and I being friends. He was racing Legends, I was racing cars. We got to be mutual friends. We started helping each other, and Matt helped me a lot with my racing. When we were champ kart racing, I cared more about go-kart racing than I did car racing. And I was winning go-kart races, and Matt was doing the work and had me winning car races at the same time. So there was a little point in my racing that I was really on top of my game, and I had a really good time, and I had great guys like Matt that were helping me accomplish all those things. So I know what it is. And then for Matt and I now to come out of racing, he's still racing, but my role has changed. But his role has changed administratively too, being the race director at the kart club and involved in arena racing teams and all the things we do. And he's still racing on Saturday night and involved with this show, Roger. I mean, it's strange how we've evolved, and I don't think we would have predicted our futures correctly either a few years back.
No, 10 years ago, I would not see any of us where we're at right now. Especially you. I figured you'd still be racing, and I know you would have, barring certain incidents. But I always knew we'd be involved with it. And we have.
We have, so. And I mean, I got hurt pretty bad in 2007, and I went through 5 surgeries on my arm, and it was really a hard time for me to accept the fact that something had changed and stopped me that I couldn't control, because we were tough guys, and we were going to fix it if it was wrong and get it ready to go. Friday night we were racing up at Southampton on Friday night, and Langley's on Saturdays, and racing at Southside some, and kart racing, and it changed me some. I mean, I think I've got things in a different perspective than I had before. My appreciation's very high for being involved in the sport at any level, and it's really high for people like yourself and Roger and people that work just to support racing in general. I mean, it's a good experience, Matt, but I mean, I will say this, I'm probably going to end up with some kind of car and go racing, and I've even looked at the Southern Modified Series. I'd like to build a car, and me and Sean Beluzzo take that thing and campaign it some, and Sean drive it some when we wanted to be serious, and me drive it when we don't want to be serious.
That would be a good. That would be a good series.
I'd like to get drive on some bigger tracks. There's a lot of room. I wouldn't expect to try to win, but I sure would like to race, and it sure would. It'd be fun to get back in the car. And then I know recently you offered me maybe a potential ride in your Pro 6 car at the end of the year for the special race, and that would probably be a lot of fun too, Matt. So I mean, it's changed for me a lot, and it's been real hard to be where I'm at now, honestly, and for a lot of reasons. The financial challenges, the personalities, the administrative things, all the things that Langley needed, and my box of things that were needed there was pretty heavy, and it was hard to carry. And I've been through a lot of stuff, but I'm here, and I think the track's evolving in the right direction. I listen to people. I tell people Langley Speedway is not about me. I'm the guy that happened to be able to be in a position to come in there and help keep things solid. And it's kind of a privilege because I feel like I'm able to contribute to every single race team that comes to the track. So it's a different level of contribution when you're involved where I'm at. And of course, I can't say enough about my relationship with NASCAR. It's very strong. George Silverman has been involved with me. He's way at the top, and I got a lot of respect for him. He's a very good businessman. He's when you cut a deal with him, it's exactly precisely what we agree on. Bob Duvall has been great. I really didn't know how they viewed me, but apparently I've been fairly well accepted, and I appreciate that level of acceptance with NASCAR. And you know, we were in the R&D Center last year when I talked to Sherry Clifton and met her down there, and Philip Morris were there, and a lot of the champions from around the country, and it's been a pretty cool experience for me. And the level of support that I got from NASCAR and from NX is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And I can't say it's me that did it. I say it's Langley Speedway. All I did was shine it a little bit, turn the corner with it, and show them what I had here.
Yep.
And they're going to come, and that's what's great. And you know, I'm probably not stepping out of line saying this, that I have talked to NASCAR about the K&N Pro Touring Series. I'd like to see them come back next year, and I'm sure if not before, sometime in November, if I go back down to the R&D Center, then I'm going to be talking to Mr. Silverman and Bob Duvall, and I'm basically going to tell them what I want. I want to continue to build Langley Speedway on that national level, and there's no better way to do it than with the NX Nationals and the level of racing Southern Modifieds will bring. And you certainly know if I could get K&N Pro Series back at Langley Speedway, it would plant that old gal firmly back on the map.
Yep.
And on a nationwide scale. And that's really what after Matt, I felt like the raceway somewhat fell asleep in its own community as far as what it was capable of. And I think racing, I know for a fact that racing at a racetrack that holds bigger national level events, that has recognition, builds a better race experience for our young kids and our young U-Car stars and these boys, you know, Gaeta and Hildebrandt, Florian, and these superstars we've got in these U-Cars.
They're coming up,
You know, they're racing at a racetrack that's recognized on a national basis on a bigger level, and I think that adds and enhances their experience as a local racer at a track that's bigger than local. And that's really been part of my mission, to shine the place up and bring it back to where it's a little bigger than local.
Yep. This is one of the tracks that people love to hate, because if you can come to Langley Speedway and get around Langley Speedway well, you can go other places and run well.
Yes.
A prime example, Philip Morris came down and just could not, he's national champion. He is a great race car driver.
Absolutely.
He went a lap down halfway through that Hampton Heat last year. Not this year, but the year before.
Right.
You know, this is a very difficult track, and it is a great facility to race at. It really is.
It is. I mean, it's a driver track. You and I, nobody knows it better than we do.
Yep.
It's really hard to win a race there.
Yep.
Turn 1 and 2 are hard enough, but when you come off of turn 4, that racetrack isn't that big if you're too wide.
You're right.
It looks big from the stands, but when you get in the car, it's a whole different perspective of what side-by-side racing is, like Thomas Stinson and some of them have done lately. I mean, that side-by-side racing and what the modifieds are doing is unbelievable, Matt. So we know what it is. It is super hard to get around, and I do think it's true that if you're really good at Langley, if you go somewhere with a little bit of banking in it and forgiveness, you'll probably do fairly well. And I know, you know, we raced at Langley a lot and then started traveling some, and I had no problems at Southside or Southampton at the time. You know, we went there and we ran very well. When we left Langley and we went to other places, it didn't take us long to run real well. And
to figure it out,
Well, let me give you a good, quick prime example. Brandon Godoy. Down here running at Langley, goes out to Martinsville last year, winds up on the pole.
Absolutely.
And ran pretty good the whole time through till somebody got into it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But he didn't run Langley last year.
I was trying to make it look good.
Brandon ran South Boston last year in a limited late model. So, but he's ran very well. He's had some good crew chiefs. Rick's starting to pick up really well. I mean, he did really great this last race.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
I was listening to him the whole time. It was
prime example.
Brandon got on a tear, let me tell you.
Phil Warren. He's won Martinsville twice.
Yep.
I don't think a lot of people realize that. He has 2 grandfather clocks and 7 championships. He's also got a championship at Southampton, and he never got one at Southside, but he's won a couple races at Southside. He's got 9 altogether in racing, besides 7 championships at Langley. And you're honoring him pretty big. You're giving him a whole
Section of grandstands.
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
quite a big honor.
Well, I mean, and he deserves it. And I said it to him in Victory Lane the other night, and I was always a big Phil Warren fan, and you know that, man.
Yeah.
You know, he wrote the book, and that's all there is to say about him. I don't know what you can say to describe a guy that has been the racer he's been all these years, had the demeanor he's had. He's a very stable individual, and what a professional racer, and that's all you can say about him. He knows the late model game, and because of guys like Phil, Mark, Danny, Greg, the Sawyers, all of these guys, I don't know who I'm leaving out, but the late model guys at Langley, I think, are some of the best short track talent in the United States today, and it proved it again this year with our national scoring in the Wheeling All-American Weekly Series, that we had 4 to 5 guys in the top 25 continuously, and most of the time that was the best scoring of any asphalt track in the country came from Langley Speedway.
Yeah.
So that's something I'm really proud of, is the fact that Langley Speedway does have a bunch of great drivers. You can see them in the NASCAR Weekly points around the country, and that speaks for itself right there. It's statistically proven, it's in black and white, and it's irrefutable, and that's that's the kind of information that we're standing on.
No argument about it.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And that's not something we did. We didn't bring that talent at Langley Speedway. All that was already there.
Yep. Yeah, we just brought it out more in the open, or you guys just brought it out more in the open. Said,
Well,
hey,
us,
look what we've really
on
got.
the whole program, Matt. And I think
Yeah.
it took everybody. You know, I've got the best safety and record crew in the country. I've got to have the best officials in the country. I mean, you know that the Langley officials were invited to run the Denny Hamlin charity race.
Yep.
That didn't happen because they're bad. It happened because they're professional.
Yep.
And Sherry Clifton gave me a great comment the other day on the phone, and she said, I know y'all run a tight ship, and that coming out of NASCAR, somebody's talking, and we've had NASCAR visitors, and it just tells you about Butch Lassiter, Shane Laws, the experience they've had all these years at the short tracks, and what they've done with that professionalism is shining at Langley Speedway. And I always say that, you know, it's probably one of the top 5 best short tracks in the United States for Saturday night.
By far. Yeah.
And I rate that in many ways with the racing, the facility, and particularly the personnel, because that's what makes it, is how you host these drivers. And when you got guys like Thomas Stinson, and he's a pretty tough guy, and you know, when you've got guys like Stinson that are happy and they're telling you how great a job we're doing at Langley, we're doing something right.
You're doing something
Trust me.
right. Yep.
That's what I think.
You really are. You really are.
Here's part of the future for you. Get yourself an Infield Care Center, and you can start getting some trucks out there.
Exactly.
Well, we actually got one. You got an infield care center that's AC, got a door on it, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, I'd like to bring those. You know, Roger's probably talking about wolf trucks. They got pretty nasty there, but there is a bunch of those trucks laying in the area. They're Craftsman trucks. They're beautifully built, and I mean, George Van Gilder, Tommy Spencer's got one now. There's a bunch of guys that have these trucks, and I want to call a meeting of those guys and inventory them. Who's got one? Raise your hand. How many of you guys is it? And can I bring y'all back out to race at Langley? And my idea is more like a hobbyist division. I know I'd love to have a Craftsman truck to ride in.
Sure.
But I'd like to race guys like Roger, yourself. You know, I'd like to race guys that I know would come out there and consider it a hobbyist division, and let's race and try to put them all on the trailer looking just as cool as they were.
Yeah.
And really kind of honor each other and race clean. And, you know, the wolf truck division got a little out of hand. Y'all know there was some fracasing going on, and that's not unusual, but it wasn't conducive to building the class when you had under 10 cars.
Yep.
And unlike the Pro 6 Series, we're trying to build that, but y'all are doing an awful clean job racing. I know now and then somebody misses a gear because those cars are famous for it. But,
yeah, they do.
I mean, yeah, and I have in the past too, Matt. But other than that, I mean, the Pro 6 Series is clean, and I'd like to bring those trucks back, Roger, and tell the guys, let's make this a hobbyist division where you come out here You run these ultra fast, good looking trucks, but y'all honor each other and
Yeah.
let's take care of it.
Kind of like
Have
a
some fun
vintage
with it.
class, a classic car
Exactly.
class. Yeah. And we've had a few of them out there. We've had some of them old ground pounders out there, and those are a lot of fun to have out there too. So Mason has corrected me. 10 as a driver, 2 as a crew chief. And Philip Morris was at last year's. Yes, he was, because they took the tires off that car and put it on another car, and he still couldn't run fast. So on you, Mason. That was last year.
Okay.
So
And where's Mason's probably out at the speedway.
he's out at the racetrack. He's running it, and it is 10. I believe it is 10 because he had 7 at Langley, 2 at Southampton, and he did have 1 at Southside. That's right. Okay, let's get out of here. We're done.
Miracles of technology. Let me tell you. Thank everybody for being with us tonight at Let's Talk Racing. Or did you have something else you want to throw out there?
See y'all next Wednesday.
Well, see everybody. See ya.
Thank y'all.